Hey guys, so I'm going to be starting my second Christmas present today. I'm making a pair of crocheted slippers with leather on the sole. The first present I did, I made some crocheted face scrubbies. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. And the person I'm making these for has about the same size feet as I do, so I'm just going to use mine as a pattern. And all I'm going to do, I think, is just put my foot down, and I think I'm just going to trace it, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, so I'm going to use a marker for this one because I want to make sure I can see everything well. And what I'm going to do is just come in about that far. Yeah. Come in about 1/4 of an inch, about 1/2 centimeter, a little more. And that's where I'm going to poke my hole for the crochet needle to go through. I'm going to do those about 1 centimeter apart. And I'm going to go all the way around the edge. Okay, so I have my 2 soles all cut out, and they've got their holes along the edge. And I used just a regular sharp yarn needle. I wanted to use a nail because I feel like it would be thicker and make a bigger hole, but I couldn't find one. I didn't want to wait, so I used this. I think if you have a nail, it'll make the hole bigger and it'll make it easier to attach that first row. Ideally, if you do any kind of leather working, there's a tool you can get to poke holes in it, but I didn't want to invest in a tool for one pair of slippers. So this works just fine. It's a little harder, but not a big deal. So I've got this, and what I'm going to do is start in the same hole. So I've got them lined up, and I started in this hole. So I took the same needle that I used to cut the holes. This is going to be the outside, so I'm going to work this way. It's a little bit hard to see. But all I did was take this, push it through, and that just stretches out the hole. Just enough to get this through. I used a 2mm. Shove it through. And the first one is the hardest because there's nothing holding that other side of it. So there's that. 6mm. And I'm just going to use that to hold it. When I started, I did 1 stitch. I started with the purple. I did 1 stitch there. 2 stitches, 1, 2. I just did 1 and then 2 all the way around the heel. So I'm going to take the needle again, find my next hole, and this is the part I mean, if you'd used a nail, you probably won't have to shove the needle back through again, but pop it through, pull my yarn. There. Now this second hole had 2 stitches. So I will go ahead and do a second one. Just 2 in that one. As you can see, I've got 2, 1, 2. And going around this second one, I'm just going to count and make sure I do the same as I did on this one. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Oops, I'm going this way, not this way. So I've got my beginning one here, 1 stitch, 1, 2, 2, 2. So I need to go back and fix that. Okay, so I ended that and fixed it. So I'm just going to follow this along. I'm going to do the same number of stitches. Under. Okay, so I've got the first row. I've got the leather attached to both of them. I've got that first row done. And if you're wondering why I'm doing both of them at the same time, there's a couple of reasons. The first one is that I've got a little less than a full skein. I'm not sure how much is on here and how far it's going to go. I don't want to do the first one and finish it and then not have enough to do the second. And also because I'm not really using a pattern, I'm just going to shape it over my foot. And so what I'm going to do is I'll do one row on this one, and then I'll do the same row, so I'll know exactly what I did, and they'll be symmetrical. And you can see my yarn here, so one side is just using the end that rolls off the edge, off the outside, and the other one is using the yarn that comes out of the middle. Okay, so I went and just crocheted one regular row without increasing or decreasing on both of them. So basically all I'm going to do is just try it on each row and see what I want to do with it. So I'm going to decrease a few stitches up here to bring that in, and I'll just sort of close it in, I think. I finished the second row. I brought it in 2 stitches here. I did 1, 2, 3 around there, 1 over here, and 2 spaced in here. And I didn't count exactly, I just kind of spaced them out. So like 2 on the edge of the heel, 2 on the in, 3 around the toe kind of thing. There, so you can see it's kind of coming in, starting to fit. So I don't think I'll need to do any more around here. I'll probably just keep decreasing around the toes. Okay, I did 2 more rows. I didn't touch anything around here. I decreased 1 here each row and 2 around that big toe. I'm going to start making longer stitches here, and I'll still decrease a couple in here as I go. Okay, so for this part here, I want it to come up further. You can see I've done 1. I want to really kind of scoop that up. So what seemed to work best is you find kind of your center of that dip. So like 1 and 2, and you want to find the center 10 stitches. So there's those, so 1, 2, 3, 4 up. And then it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 to that side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is a half double crochet there, through them all. And then I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to go through the front of that and the front of that next one. So that's combining it, and I'm decreasing 1 stitch there. So the next one, I'm going to do a double crochet through 1 stitch. So pull that, through that, through that. I'm going to do another double crochet, decreasing again. So through the 2, through that, through that, through that. And that's my center right there. So I'm going to do 1 more double crochet through 1, through there, through there, through there. And then I'm going to do another half double, again decreasing 1, so going through 2 of them, just the front. And I feel like I didn't do that right. Round, through those, pull there, and then through. And then 1 more half double through 1 stitch. which really, I mean, I did that wrong. You got a single crochet and a double crochet and then a half a double crochet, which makes no sense at all. There. And that's what it's gonna look like. So this kind of thing, I think I'm gonna do that for a few more rows and bring it in. You really wanna just make sure you're decreasing enough in there, otherwise it'll start like going really far up. And we don't want that. So if it starts going up more and not kind of like in, flat on your foot, you just want to decrease some more. And I'm just not changing anything, just crocheting around there. Because of that, and I think I'm going to start bringing it in maybe a stitch out here on each side, 2 stitches on the back each round. Kind of tighten that all up. So I'm this far along. I've done this row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And after I did the second row of doing all the different stitches, I took, because you measured the 5 stitches each side, I took the 2 at the beginning and the 2 at the end, and I stitched those together to take it in a couple more. So I did that from row 3 and up. And now what I'm going to do is just crochet, I think, probably 3 rows, just plain. Okay, so I've gone not quite 3 full times around, because this is the left foot, and I wanted to stop on the outside of it. So I've got it folded in half here, so I went almost to the front, but not quite. And I'm going to make, I think, almost a collar. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do 1 chain stitch like I was working a flat piece, and I'm going to turn around. But instead of going through both sides of that like you would normally, I'm only going to go through the back and do 1, 2, I'm going to do 3, I think, stitches of only working in the back side of it, not both. And then I'm going to go through regular for the rest of them, and then work all the way back around. So I worked back around right up to where I stopped. There are my 3 stitches from before. And I think I'm going to go through this one. This is actually the stitch on the other side that I did. So I'll do that one. And then I'm going to do 3 stitches right through that front one from before. 1, 2, 3. So you can see that kind of gives me an overlap there. So I'm just going to do the chain 1 and turn around. And you're just going to keep working your way back and forth to make a little collar piece. So I finished doing my cuff. Since I split it up, I've done 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 rows on both of them. So all I'm going to do is clip the end and work that in. And they're all done. I think they came out pretty good. I hope they fit her okay and she likes them. Oh, there's that first thread. I gotta work that in too.